Hey guys, I'm Jackson Cobalt, and welcome to Pixel Walker. It's Everybody Edits. I'm a very big Everybody Edits fan, and for a very long while, like 6 years of Everybody Edits lifespan, I was a very um high like high gaming go-to host for RPG games because I just had a lot of free time, and I also hosted pretty solid fundamental RPGs. So if anyone wants to play an old school Everybody Edits style turn-based RPG, you can. Pixel Walker is free online, no download required, and it is Everybody Edits. It's like basically literally that's what it is. Um, And I have this RPG, PW test RPG, that is a fairly solid grasp of the core stuff from like 8 years ago that I was running. Um, I'm just gonna do like a breakdown of how these stat blocks work. So in this world I have 6 stat blocks available. Um, I'm using one of them just because I don't have 6 players, and also I tend to like to have a stat block so that we can do 2v2 or larger scale fights without needing multiple people plus a host on Al at the same time. Um, at the same time, I also am using mine as an example for what it looks like. So, starting off, up here we got our stats. The green line is your hit points. It's HP. It's your health. It's called HP. Um, your HP stat, you multiply by that by 2, and you get your total health points for every battle. There's also uses for having a high health stat in the Guardian and Cleric classes. Next, we have Mage. MAG, Mage for the magic stat. Um, just like HP, you double it for your mana per combat, but it's also used to determine how much magical spells deal, how much healing you get from certain healing spells, and other such stuff based on your class and skills that you pick up. ATK, or attack, determines how much damage you deal with a basic attack, and is also used a lot in skills. Then we have SPD, or speed, where it determines how fast you move in turn order, and classes like Rogue and Striker want to can even deal damage based off of their speed stat and want to have a higher speed stat than normal. And then lastly, we have DEF, or defense, where after all other calculations are done, the damage that you take is 3 is subtracted from the damage that you take every time you would receive damage, and it reduces damage to a minimum of 1. So it is impossible for the for any person to deal less than 1 damage with any given attack. And if you attack multiple times, let's say you have a skill that lets you attack 5 times, each one of those attacks can be reduced down to a minimum of 1. Then we have our little decoration box. It's your name, and it also contains anything like this sign that contains the name of of your username on Pixel Walker. Over here, and technically anywhere, is what class you are. You determine this first, and then you get a starting set of stat points based on your class, and then you get 5 additional stat points at level 1 to create your starting stats. And as you level up, you get more and more stat points. Your starting class, your class also determines what skill options you get every level. At each level, there are 2 skills that unlock, and you pick one of them, or one from a previous level. So let's see here. So I have Mage, and I have chosen the Ice Bolt skill, which for 3 mana, I deal mage damage to enemy and lower their ATK for 2 buy 2 for 2 rounds. Now, the other option would be Firebolt, which for 3 mana deals damage equal to magic plus attack, um, uh, and then deal and then cause them to be burning, which burning they take 1 damage at the start of each turn. That they don't use the until they use the defend action, which is one of the 3 basic actions. And 3 basic actions are going to be attack, where you deal damage equal to your attack; focus, where you focus on your next attack and it deals 50% more damage before any modifiers. After technically after like additions, like if you have a +2 to attack, it'll happen after that. And then there is defend, which reduces incoming damage you receive by 50%, and then your defense stat applies after that halving. Make it more useful. Additionally, if you're in a 2v2 fight, there is also a taunt action, which makes the enemies have to target you until they until you lose half of your maximum life total, which is pretty good. Over here, we got equipment. Everyone starts off with 2 pieces of equipment, or 1 piece of double wide equipment. So I have this 2-handed staff, whereas the other person here has is using dual daggers. Every piece of equipment. So you start off with a paired equipment, which is what are you wielding in your hands. And then the other 2 equipment slots are things like armor, potions, and other such things that you can acquire throughout gameplay by getting levels, by getting money, and then by using that stuff. You can also upgrade your equipment. So right now, my staff, I add my attack damage. It's a 2-handed staff, so that means that I add my attack damage to my magical damage skills. And I have +1 mana in fights, which means that I have an additional mana pip bar. Over here, we got a warrior who is using 2 daggers and has the dual slice ability, which lets them deal damage equal to their attack twice at the cost of 1 mana. And then they have 2 daggers, which just when you deal damage with the daggers, you deal equal to your attack. Whereas if you were using something like a sword and shield, you'd be doing attack +2. If you had like a great sword, it would be attack +4. And then they also get +1 speed. It's supposed to be +1 speed, and then they get 2 turns per round because of the dual daggers, because that's their benefit. Down here, you have an experience bar. This node denotes the start of the experience bar, and this over here determines the end, and it also is a level tracker. The counter displays a number, and whatever that number is your current level. So all of these are free and empty, and just to list off all of the classes that I have currently created, but you can have other classes. You have Warrior, Guardian, Cleric, Mage, Necromancer, Rogue, Striker, Psychic, Berserker, Blood Mage, Teacher, and Alchemist, which is a very long list for a game like this. So, starting into battle, let's just say I was going up against this smiley block. It's a smiley block. So, at the beginning of combat, first off, we write up what our hit point line is. So, my hit point line is 3. So I write 3 hit points. And how this works is that when you take damage, you first go there, and then that's half done, and then when you keep taking damage, you go there. When the bar is fully blacked out, that is it. It works the same way with mana, except the mana is placed directly underneath of it in blue. I have 4 as my mage stat, +1 from having my 2-handed staff. Then I am given a color to denote myself. The enemy gets a color to denote themselves. Let's say they get 4 and 1 mana. And then there's a little thing that gets created here to determine what the turn order is. Since both of us each only get 1 turn per round, and my speed is 2, and their speed is 3, they get to move first. So I do the corresponding color, and then my color. And then, to denote which one of the turns it is, you just put a little arrow pointing at the turn that it is. And it goes and goes and goes, and all the effects are in play until the battle is over and one side has a fully blacked out HP bar for all of its members. Let's say then it is a 2v2 fight. Now you just give each person their own color, and you make the bar bigger. And now it needs to be able to hold 4. And let's say the order is, it goes red, green, blue, purple. And this can scale really nicely. There are boss battles, there are raid bosses, there is enough room for, like, I don't know, 20 levels or something of this. Reasonably, I'm going to say probably about level 10 is going to be probably the maximum level for this. I'm still working out some of the quirks of high-level gameplay or whatever. But this is just a very simple test RPG that you can come in anytime that the world is open. You can just come in and give it a whoop. I only do have room for 6 players, so if you come in, you create a character sheet, and then you play a bit, and then you're gone for long enough periods of time, and other people want to play, I will remove your character sheet so that they can play. Technically speaking, I could add more stat blocks for this game, or a second world for it, but right now this is what we are doing for this. I also just really want to get more people playing Pixel Walker. If you have any memories of Everybody Edits, and you want more memories of Everybody Edits, Pixel Walker, we need as many players as possible. So that's why I'm making this video. So, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Jackson Cobalt, and I hope to see you here. Thank you guys so much. Peace.